My name is Jim Stevens. I'm the Deputy Director of Historic Cold Spring Village. If you're not familiar with us, we're a 22-acre living history museum located just north of the city of Cape May, New Jersey. We have a collection of over 24 historic buildings going back as far as the year 1691. And in those buildings, we recreate different aspects of daily life, trades that people would have done in the early American era, after the American Revolution and prior to the Civil War. The election of Abraham Lincoln in November of 1860 certainly is one of the most divisive moments in American history. His election caused several states in the South to begin to secede, to begin to leave the United States of America. South Carolina was the first. They eventually formed a nation they called the Confederate States of America, and the American Civil War would begin at 4:30 in the morning on April 12th, 1861, when Southern troops opened fire on Fort Sumter, a United States Army coast defense fort located in the harbor of Charleston, South Carolina. Lincoln was quite popular here in southern New Jersey. It's often said that New Jersey was the only state in the Union that remained loyal to the United States during the Civil War that didn't cast all of its electoral votes for Lincoln. Some people use that as a way of saying that New Jersey was somehow a Confederate state, which is not in the least bit true. Southern New Jersey was very Republican and very pro-Lincoln. As a matter of fact, even though New Jersey as a whole cast the majority of its votes for the Democratic candidates in the 1860 and 64 presidential elections, it would be the Republican candidate, Lincoln, that would win the majority of votes in South Jersey both times. All of the 8 counties of South Jersey, Burlington County and Ocean County, on south to Cape May County, supported Lincoln. What we have going on here today is an annual event called Civil War Weekend. We bring in about 300 reenactors, both military and civilian, representing the Union and Confederate armed forces and people who would have lived at that time. They recreate camp life of the American Civil War. The civilians talk about the home front and how they supported the soldiers in the field. And each day in the afternoon, usually about 2 o'clock, we fight a mock battle through the village and incorporate some of the buildings into the battle that they do. Well, Henry Sawyer served in the 1st New Jersey Volunteer Cavalry Regiment. He was a cavalryman. Those, if you're unfamiliar with the term, were the troops that went on to battle, into battle on horseback. During the Civil War, they were very well equipped with weapons that were high-tech for their time. Sawyer, however, was captured at one of the largest cavalry battles of the Civil War, the Battle of Brandy Station, Virginia, in June of 1863. He was taken prisoner and eventually brought to the famous Libby Prison in Richmond. He was involved in a bit of scandal. Several Confederate prisoners, including a relation of General Robert E. Lee, were threatened with execution, and in return the Confederate government chose the names of several Union prisoners who were to be executed in turn if those Confederate prisoners were to be hung. One of them was Henry Sawyer. Sawyer's wife went to Washington, D.C. to plead with President Lincoln to do something, to try and save his life. And eventually she was quite successful. Henry Sawyer would live on to survive the American Civil War and eventually become quite a famous hotel owner here in Cape May. He owned a hotel for many years down here and was a prominent citizen of Cape May County for quite a long time.